Yeah, Dr. Devi, my voice is audible?
Yes, sir. You are finally audible, sir. And sorry, sir,
Okay,
for this
okay.
inconvenience. Actually, just because of
No
network
issues,
issue.
no issues. I think so. I think so. There seems to be some of the network issues going on. No issues. We can
Yes, sir.
continue with
Yes,
the
sir.
session now. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, yes. Welcome to everyone on this session, the eighth session of the Vegan Homeopath series. Yes, and I would like to welcome a warm welcome to sir. I'm very thankful for you, sir, to giving a time for this session. So, yes, everyone is joining right now. Sir, I'm audible.
Yeah. You're much
Yes.
audible and you're clear with your voice.
Yes, yes. So a little introduction about today's guest. So here in front of us, Dr. Aditya Patil sir from Satara, I think Karat Satara sir.
Yeah.
Yes, he is my senior, and he already completed his BHMS, MD, and he is former fellow, senior fellow in CCRH, New Delhi under AYUSH Ministry. And he started his new venture, which is very wonderful, working in the field of research, that is THRS venture. And yes, so here today we are going to see some unhidden points, unknown points about the research and everything. So yes, sir, let's start with the session.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so excited to have
Oh,
this session after a long time because
yes,
the
sir.
last session I think so I conducted with Bahola Research Group, wherein
Yes, sir.
similar set of questions and similar set of particular hypotheses were put forth, and I had a lot of interaction with the audience and particularly understanding the research aura about this community, what is going on. So even I hope today that we have a lot of people asking interactive questions so that we can have one-to-one session with everyone.
Yes, sir. Sure, sure. Yes, sir. So, sir, the very first question, the basic question that many one have sent me the queries and questions, sir. What is the scope of research in homeopathy? So it's
Wow,
a very
this
funny question, but sir, yes, two or three doctors have sent me the queries. So please ask the sir about the scope and the need of the research in this
yes,
pathy.
yes,
So sir,
yes.
please few words
Definitely.
about this.
Definitely, I would like to answer this question. First of all, before answering this question, we need to understand what exactly the research is and in homeopathy, why it was necessary to go ahead with this research field. Okay.
Yes, sir.
If we try to understand the academics part currently going all over India, we would like to understand the perspective, teaching methods, and understanding the materia medica as per having a patient-centered study. But if you try to understand, these are all the empirical sources. Okay, so these sources they have been done with prolonged experimental provings and has been gathered in the form of an information which we all in the community of homeopathy try to understand in the form of materia medica, or you can say materia medica pura. But over the time, these all experimental provings which have been done on humans, okay, they need
Yes,
to
sir.
get verified. They need to be verified again and again. See, research is like if there is any principle set, we have to again re-establish those principles by again doing the experiments, by again doing the studies. If we are not able to provide this particular information or the clarification or the verification of this particular information, then I think so
Yes, sir.
there seems to be a biasness in this process. So we need to understand first the importance of research. The empirical sources, there are particular rubrics, you can say the particular materia medica, how it is written. Every philosopher
Yes,
has
sir.
its own point of view. Getting it? The
Yes,
Keynesian
sir.
philosophy is there. You have the Buddhist philosophy coming up. You have particularly Fatak celebrity. Everyone in this field is trying to put forth as per their best. But we also need to understand too many cook can spoil a cake. So it's like too many philosophers can definitely make a lot of confusion in this ongoing process.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
it also depends on each student, each practitioner, which method he or she likes to go with the practice. Some might like to have, go with the classical methods. Some might like to go with the, you can say, what you can say, that is many multiple remedies. You can say polypharmacy like practicing and all. But understand one thing, that the scope of research in homeopathy always will rely on the attitude of the researcher or the attitude of the
Yes, sir.
students, how it takes up. It is very important that the information which we are gathering from the patients, how it is gathered, number one, how
Yes,
it
sir.
is documented, number two, how it is written and it is explored in the field of research, how it is you can say taught or preached to the other generations, and similarly, how are you able to trace particular information in the society? So it's
Yes,
like
sir.
we try to treat the humans, we don't try to treat the disease. This is the philosophy of homeopathy, what it goes and what everyone else put forth into it.
Yes, very true, sir. Yes, sir.
Each time the simillimum you try to select is not going to be the correct. And every time the recovery as expected wouldn't be the part of recovery would be coming up. But need to understand first is the information which we all are getting from the lectures, from academic institutes, and from various other stations, or you can say various others. We try to go with seminars and we try to attend it. We need to understand whether those informations are unbiasedly, being taught, and there is no any particular prejudice. As Dr. Hanneman has said himself, there should be always an unprejudiced observation. If you are going to be more prejudiced, definitely all your particular results are going to hamper in the practice also. It's also going to hamper into your research field also. So in the field of research, it looks very fantasizing when you try to understand this concept. But let me make you a little bit aware about it. If you will try to learn a remedy with only a single point of view, definitely you're going to land up into a lot of chaos. Because the remedy of Arnica, for example, if you try to understand Arnica montana as per KT and as per Fartos, there are similar some of the rubrics are present, but the sphere of actions need to be deciphered into long proving symptoms also and into some short provings with some pilot studies, with some clinical trials. There are a lot of research papers who are mentioned with this particular remedies. And definitely the scope will define with the practitioner's perspective. It is not
Yes,
always
sir.
that you are going to get a scope and the limitations with coming up with this particular, in the field of research. You need to understand this broader perspective. Yeah.
Sir, pretty audible. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, yeah.
sorry, sir. Because
No
audience
worries, no
are
worries.
not. Yes, sir.
Okay. So this was this is I think so just what I have been shared about the question that what scope do we have in the research in the field of homeopathy. And as if you try to ask this question on the perspective of the researchers, I would like to give this answer into three ways. Number one,
Yes, sir.
pharmaceutical perspective. Number two, academic perspective. And number three comes up with the practitioner's perspective. In
Yes, sir.
pharmaceutical perspective, the scope of research will always define about the product quality of the homeopathic medicines, how it is prepared, then what are its standards, what are the pharmacopoeial standards mentioned, and as you can see in ongoing times, there are new upcoming, traceable materials have been identified in this particular dilution medicines. So definitely over the time, this is going to be a major challenge in the field of, pharmaceuticals also. To have a standardized limit for, having a dilution serial diluted with the traceable materials. Many of the researchers are working. IIT
Yes,
Bombay
sir.
people have taken this as a great initiative. There have been a lot of research papers. They have certainly proven a lot of major group of remedies, having these nanomaterials and particles. But over the time, we also need to verify these experiments from different perspectives by testing with high sensitive instruments. Second, coming up is about academic. I would like to say that we also need to understand the particular scholarship program running up with
Yes, sir.
this homeopathy. We have the CCRH, which is giving up the scholarship for all the students from first year to final year, wherein they have been enrolled for a 1 year project. It's a good
Yes,
scholarship
sir.
of 20,000 given by the government. And definitely, the budding researchers or the budding homeopathic students, they will get exposed to what all these courses are and how they can go into it. For this, I would like to highlight one point is the
Yes, sir.
CCRH has given an importance about the priority of areas of the research. So if
Yes,
you
sir.
try to understand, if you will go into this particular document in the website of the CCRH, in the EMR schemes, they have given this particular importance about this priority area. So there is one, two, classified into one, two, three, and four. So I think so. The one goes with all the clinical trials. There are human diseases, and they have been classified about what all scope you can go and how you can proceed ahead. Similarly, there are preclinical studies, there are in vitro, in vivos, animal model studies, which have been given the priority areas for this. And there is another one comes up with the agro-homeopathy and veterinary homeopathy. So these are the booming fields coming right now in the field. And the third perspective of the practitioners that I want to put forth is that case studies reporting are one of the
Yes,
important
sir.
aspects of the practices. Why I
Yes,
would
sir.
like to emphasize this more? Because in India, I think so the current data, if I'm not wrong, it has been over more than 5 or 6 lakhs registered
Okay.
practitioners which are trying to put forth reputed case repositories of their studies before and after treatment with guidelines of home care into the particular government journals of India, that is IGRH, and some of the reputed journals. But we need to scale up this process with each and every practitioners. Why? The reason is, if you try to understand Dr. Devi, there was a
Yes,
time
sir.
when we used to attend the seminar. People used to speak a lot about homeopathy. They used to come, they used to say that I treat these cases like this, I give this
Yes, sir. Yes,
medicine.
sir.
But
Yeah.
there was no
Most
any
most
before
of
and
them.
after analysis. There was only before and after analysis. It was more about pictorial presentations, about a lot of theoretical presentations about the susceptibility, the potency,
Yeah,
the
Yeah, so
totally
I would
point,
like
sir.
to bring, yeah, I would like to bring again the attention to all the audiences that there was a time when
Yes, sir.
we were, attending the seminars wherein the speakers of international and national, they used to come up on the stage. They used to give a lot of, evidences. But one
Yes, sir.
thing they used to mess up with about, providing the data. Because in today's scenario, 21st century, we need to be more reluctant about the investigations what we are doing with the patients and what are the protocols we have used for treating these patients. So tomorrow, if I'm presenting with some of the students out there, I should be well aware that what I'm trying to put forth, my particular hypothesis of testing these cases, how I have particularly brought up with this treatment line, the investigations before and after treatment guidelines, and showing them the comparative analysis of the follow-up, that how it has been getting the effects. Because this is the need of R. See, we cannot always try to rely on the context or the textual perspective of the materia
Yes,
medica
sir.
as seen in the academics. For example, as I told you in my previous 15 minutes ago, I gave you an example of Arnica montana. So if Arnica montana, we know that it in a bruised feeling or where there is a blunt head injury, we try to give it. Okay,
Yes, sir.
many of the
Yes, sir.
researchers or the practitioners, they try to present this particular remedy by showing before and after, images of the blunt head injuries and all. But we also need to
Okay.
understand the particular biomarkers coming up into this picture. There are various researchers from the Netherlands. They are really doing a hard work in this core field. They are trying to put forth the biomarkers with this Arnica montana, how it upregulates, downregulates with the gene expressions, and then over the
Okay, sir.
time how it is trying to get in similarly actions in this patient-centered studies. So this is a need of R which we all need to understand. Similarly, the students who are currently been working in this field or who want to go ahead in this field, they need to decipher a lot, not just getting into a nutshell of academics. They have to go ahead of academics also. They need to make a lot of collaborations. They need to explore a lot of questions, that how this remedy is different from the others and
Yes, sir.
how it can be brought up into a scientific frame. That is, I would like to answer the first question. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Very true, sir. Even the same thing with morning. I get two questions from. One is the same on. You have already given the answer that the carrier carrier in the research during their UGs and PGs, all they involved in this various scholarship which is given by the government. And yes, sir. One second question was there. One of my friend tomorrow. So that he told me that just ask about 30. We have so many papers. We have so many research papers we find on Google and everywhere. So how will it correlate with the clinical practice? How to be used in the
Exactly.
clinical
That.
practice? So yes, sir.
So
So what
this
about?
is
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
We have
this I
n
would
number of
like to
papers.
answer.
Yes, sir.
This
Even
I
I
would
have
like to
same
answer
theory,
it.
sir.
Yes. So I hope so. For this, I would like to give one important note that
Yes,
currently
sir.
there is a translational research approach is going on in the market. So what
Yes, sir.
it does is, for example, as you told that there are various research papers. So I would like to
Yes,
bring
sir.
into an example to put forth this question and to have a broad understanding about it. Okay.
Sure,
So
sir.
if we try
Sure.
to understand, we will break this question into three halves. Number one, in vitro studies. Number two, in vivo studies. And number three, with the clinical trials. Okay. So, and number four, then we'll go with the case reportings. So, for
Yes, sir.
example, if you try to take which remedy would you like to have to discuss on this particular topic? You can just share
Uh,
it. Any.
any one remedy, sir. So yes, sir. Very famous now in the COVID arsenic album, sir.
Oh, okay. That is good. That is a good one. Okay.
Yes, sir. One
So
favorite.
see,
Yes, sir.
okay. Now I would like to answer this. If you all try to understand arsenic album, it's totally the compound is from the arsenic trioxide. Okay, and
Yes,
as
sir.
per the pharmaceuticals, if you try to understand, they have noted this compound as a toxic agent. Okay, but in homeopathic pharmacopea of India, it has been enrolled as one of the part of preparation of the medicines. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, Dr. Khudabak sir from University of Kalyan, he has done a lot of research on this arsenic album. So what he has done is in the West Bengal, he has particularly, screened out those patients which have been having a contamination of the arsenic in their water, and they were taking it up. And those patients which were getting exposed with the arsenic, he himself has given with his research team has explored with this arsenic album, and then he has shown the simillimum effects that like cures, like you
Yes,
can
sir.
say that how it comes up. This you will get in the Google Scholar. Okay. Now, if we try to understand, in COVID, what was the concern scenario was the government has given us the guidelines that this can be used as a prophylactic measure, this medicine. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But coming up with the prophylactic measures, we need to understand that which immunomodulatory activities do the arsenic album try to trigger when it is ingested by a healthy human being. Now the question comes up that we have a drug proving, okay,
Yes,
and
sir.
it is already has been proved, and these are the symptoms what we have got it. But now the people are questioning about genus epidemicus, that over the time
Yes,
they
sir.
took up the symptoms and they brought it up into the rubrics that they converted, and then they came up with this arsenic album medicine. Okay,
Yes, sir.
but when practitioners try to put forth their endpoints as per their case takings, I think so there were various other remedies coming up. You can say brownia, camphor,
Yes, sir.
then
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
cuprim, then I think so zinc.
Yes, sir.
Then there were this. So there were various remedies, even Syncona, because I still remember in 2020 when there was a pandemic situation. I
Yes,
think
sir.
so a lot of researchers they put forth this hydroxychloroquine
Yes, sir.
HCQ
Yes, sir.
as a
Yes,
line of
sir. Yes,
treatment,
sir.
and immediately I think so researchers from homeopaths they try to put forth that this particular you can say alkaloid is present in the form in homeopathy that is from Syncona officinalis. But this isn't the way the homeopathy works up. This is the way of gathering the information of you can say defining the profiles of the drug. But the homeopathy practice doesn't rely on those perspectives. Okay. Now, arsenic album, if you say, there are preclinical studies done on cell lines.
Okay.
There
Yes, sir.
are animal model studies done on various, rat species, on various, you can say, mice or zebrafish model. There are various, I think so, clinical trials also been conducted. Even post-immunization trials with, I think so, homeopathic medication has been done. That how homeopathic
Okay.
medicine can be effective in the post-immunizations. And understanding this picture, how these particular papers are going to help for the practitioners is
Yes, sir.
each research paper provides an insight of this study about in the conclusion section that how they came up in bringing this remedy with so many activities. For example, modern medicine people, I can say modern medicine faculties or the colleagues, they try to understand medicine in the form of pharmacokinetics, pharmacodynamics.
Yes, sir.
Like they have an activities like anti-rheumatic, you can say anti-emetic, you can say then anti-inflammatory, etc. But in
Yes, yes.
homeopathy, we don't learn these activities. We try to understand the human sensations, and you can say n number of things like susceptibility, temperaments coming up. But over the time, each one has its own domain of exploring the field of research as per his own understanding. If you try
Yes,
to
sir.
understand why didn't Fatak repertory got the similar attention like Kantian repertory, if you understand this
Yes, sir.
question, because both of them had the different ideologies,
Yes,
but
sir.
the understanding of the remedy was on a similar platform. Okay,
Yep.
just the method of prescribing was different. Similarly, these research papers, understanding these are everyone is trying to build, a lot of evidences from this medicine, but the core element always will remain the similar. This you cannot break it out. So these research papers will try to give you a lot of review of literatures, about a particular remedy. They will provide you a lot of data. Getting it? If you try to understand, currently from 2010, I think so 2005 was the year wherein Lancet, the reputed journal from the modern faculty,
Yes,
they
sir.
enforced a lot of research papers commenting that homeopathy is nothing but the placebo. Okay.
Okay.
So that was one of the impactful paper, and they had done a lot of research. They have actually scrutinized those papers and explained in the form of meta-analysis. Okay, but over the time in 2010, people tried to cross-question those particular questions which were already been answered from the modern faculties, and they tried to provide the answers as per their own expertise domain. So many of them tried to give answer in the form of why these are not as a placebo. So they did physicochemical analysis studies. Many of them tried to give answers in the form of in vitro cell culture studies, that how these are different from the established models. Many of them started doing studies on animal models, how they are different from it, getting it. And similarly, the clinical trials were proven up with a lot of data.
Yes,
So
sir.
these research papers are an asset of every researcher, what he is going through, what his ideology is with, and what is put forth. He is trying to go ahead with the thought. So the citation of the research papers is most important part, because the papers which are cited a lot are the paper which has been validated by a lot of researchers in this field, and which has been tested repeatedly again and again, which findings have not been misinterpreted, or they have been not yet misforged, or you can say their findings have been coming up repeatedly in the correct format. Getting it? So every research paper is an important aspect of a researcher. Okay, but when a practitioners try to understand these research papers, they must understand first their own scope and limitation of their understanding of this homeopathic field, and then they should understand how these research papers would help them in providing their case reporting data as a strong database. For
Yes, sir.
example, in 2019, I had given a session with Bahula Research Group, so wherein Calcarea carb I took a remedy. So I told them that initially in our college times, Calcarea carb, what we know, the three Fs, fat, fair, and flabby, and then we try to know the modalities. Then we try to understand some of the sphere of actions, and then with the cravings, and then we try to go up in the repertorial totalities. We try to look up with the rubrics, and then we try to see the similar sensations in the patients, and then we try to give the medicines, understanding the potencies. Okay,
Yes, sir.
but today, if we try to understand the same Calcarea carb, people have done Calcarea carb. Ostrich experiments have been done with an animal
Yes.
experiments with the eggshell. Then pharmaceutical experiments have been done about the physiochemical analysis on this remedy. Then you can say a spectral analysis has been done. Then you can say trials has been conducted. I think so. In the cases of PCOD, even a lot of physicians have been put forth how Calcarea carb has come into the picture. Getting it? So these things over the time we all need to correlate. We all need to gather in the data form, and then we try to understand that how this particular information can be used further to extrapolate the field of research. So it's a
Yes,
very
sir.
interesting field, because every data which you gather, it has to be retrospectively understood and prospectively experiment as you go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Very true, sir. Yes, sir. So there
Yeah,
is so many things about this research field, and we are unaware of these things because we are unguided. We don't have any
yeah,
idea even during our UGs and PGs. We just doing our college that given syllabus we have just completed. We have
yeah,
never seen these things, this
true.
deep university, sir. Because yes, very important, sir. Because all these sources will help us to even to show them that yes, our medicine were working and this is the evidence.
Exactly,
And sir,
exactly,
yes, sir.
exactly.
Again, sir,
Yeah,
there's one question from
yeah.
audience, sir. What is database and search engine? So
That is
can you
good.
please?
Okay. Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
sir.
I will answer this question.
Yes,
Database
sir.
and search engine. This question addresses either in the meta-analysis studies, in the
Okay.
systematic review, or in the review research papers. Okay. So database can be your particular, you can say, wherein all the research papers are been, as a repository, they have been used. So
Yes,
they
sir.
have been given by, assessed by the journals. So you can say database in homeopathy, we have rebus. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
rebus are the reporting experiments of the animals or the, you can say, preclinical. Then we have a particular data sets of, you can say, we have the CCRH data set also, database also.
Yes, sir.
We have ICHRSC database also. Search engines are those wherein you try to put particular keywords and then you try to extract the information of particular research paper, getting
Yes, sir.
it. So for example, search engine might be Google Scholar, search engine might be, you can say, Scopus, search engine might be PubMed, Medline. Okay, so in these search engines, the basically you need to put forth the keywords of which particular study you want to extrapolate or you want to collect the data, and then you can do one thing. You will get a lot of, thousands of research papers wherein you have to filter out, getting
Yes,
it.
sir.
For example, if in Google Scholar, if you will go on Google, you will type Google Scholar, you will click those link of the Google Scholar, you will get a dashboard. Okay, in a dashboard, there is an advanced search option. In an advanced search option, you will click, then you will get a lot of subsections coming up wherein you have to put the keywords. So in homeopathy, we have two keywords with two different, words. One is HOMOEO and one is HOMEO. So
Yes, sir.
homeopathy has itself a two word
Yes,
meaning.
sir.
So,
Two issues.
and even, yeah, so these two words are extrapolated in various research paper titles. And then you can say you want to gather data from cancer. Okay. So cancer on one side, then on next subsection is homeopathy on the other side. And then you can just click on search. You will get a lot of research papers which have been there in this particular search engines and wherein the databases have been encoded up this. A very important point about this thing is I would like to also address to all the audience. Please make sure that whatever data you are collecting, it has to be with of index journals, getting it. Because currently there is a predatory market of the journals is lot booming in this field. There are a lot of research papers which are paid research papers. You
Yes,
means
sir.
if you will give 4,000 rupees, your research papers get published.
Okay.
But ideally, yeah, there are such journals, getting it. But we all need to understand, we have to
Authenticity.
search, yeah, authenticity, exactly. Scopus index journals are one of the toughest journals to decode it. And then comes up with the Web of Science and PubMed. So these three particular, you can say, databases
Yes,
has
sir.
to be screened every time, getting it. You just can't take any of the research papers, and because what will happen if you will take the predatory paper from the journal, definitely the information will be biased, definitely you will land up into another conclusion, and there might be a lot of hypotheses coming up into your mind. So
Yes,
you
sir.
need to understand, yeah, so you need to understand from your side which research paper is authentic, which are not authentic, getting it. So these things, I think so, the more you will try to go into this field, the more you will try to search the databases, the more you will try to search out with various keywords, you will try to get a lot of informations coming up. And then I think so, after going with this process, you will have some or the other thinking process coming up and with the thought process that what your hypothesis was and whether your review of literature from this search, from this particular information, is it authenticated or not. So this will help you definitely over the time in bringing up, in understanding the current trend of the research. Getting it? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, very true, sir.
Okay.
And sir, again, there is a word I have so many times heard, and even there is a query about this word. So, review of
Sure.
literature. So what what does mean by review of literature? Every time
Good.
teachers
Good.
told
Good.
us
Good.
just go and review literature and this that. So, what is this, sir?
Exactly.
Right? A simple way of
Yes. See, review of literature, I would like to give you one important example about this, which
Yes,
has
sir.
been occurred in my life.
Yes, sir.
It was in 2018. I had attended the conference in Kerala, and I think so.